Hello YouTube, today we will be doing a subscriber suggested video, first one at that. A random subscriber asked me to do a review of Google Pixel, so I did the Google Pixel 6 Pro compared to the iPhone SE 3rd generation. I actually picked the SE because we needed something to compare the 6 to, so it's my mistake if I didn't pick a great match. Let's jump in. For this episode, there's no Samsung, so I guess Google Pixel will go first. I almost couldn't believe it when I figured it out, but the 6 Pro is actually 6.71 inches long. I will probably never understand why all of these electronics companies pick such strange sizes for their phones. This just seems to be everything weird today. It's 8.9 millimeters thick. Words cannot explain my frustration right now at these companies making their phones ridiculous sizes. The 6 Pro's weight is a whopping 210 grams. That just shocks me because wait until you see the iPhone SE's weight. I guess we have to go into the internal specs, but after the external stuff, I just don't know if I can stomach it. Alright, it looks like things aren't so bad after all. The Pixel 6 Pro has some fairly normal internal specs that are its Google Tensor chip, Android 12 operating system, 512GB of memory, 12GB of RAM, 50-megapixel front camera, 11.5 megapixel selfie camera, 90 hours of battery life, and to cap it off, the 6 Pro can take 60 frame per second videos from its front camera and 30 frame per second videos from its selfie camera. And yes, that is 4K. Here we are, back at Apple with their budget-end iPhone, the iPhone SE. I hope the external specs aren't as bad as Google Pixel, because all that was absolutely maddening. Alright, I think I only got one heart attack. The SE weighs 144 grams and possesses a 4.9-inch display. 4.9 inches! It has a thickness of 7.3 millimeters, thankfully. If it was 6.9 or 7.4, I would drop dead right here and now. Oh, thank goodness. I think we're out of the worst of it. The internal specs have always been nicer to us than the external ones. The iPhone SE has an Apple A15 Bionic chip, an iOS operating system, 256GB of storage, 4GB of RAM, a 12-megapixel front camera of 60 frame per second video quality, 7-megapixel selfie camera with 30 frame per second video quality, and 13 hours of battery life. And we're comparing devices again. The Google Pixel 6 Pro is actually almost double the length of the iPhone SE 2022, 6.71 to 4.9 inches. This does not bode well for Apple at the start of our competition. 1-0. Oh, Apple has found a foothold now with a thinner design, 7.3 millimeters to 8.9 millimeters. By the way, both of these phones are 5G, so the thicknesses are fair. 1-1. The SE is also lighter than the 6 Pro with 144 grams to 210, 1-2. As always, we're skipping the operating system and processor for reasons I clarified in our last video, so if you want to find out why I don't compare those, go there. The 6 Pro has far more storage than the SE, 512GB to 256GB. That makes the score 2-2. I'm debating whether or not to count this, but I'm afraid I might have to. Understandably, the 6 Pro exceeds the SE's RAM by 8GB, making the score 3-2. I mean, I guess that makes sense because of the more storage and stuff, but still have to count it. The 6 Pro's cameras have higher megapixel counts than the SE's, but the FPS rate is the same on both phones, so I'll give Apple and Google 2 points each, 5-4. The battery life on the SE is actually longer than the 6 Pro when measuring in video playback, so that's a point for Apple, 5-5. Wow, the situation was the same as in the second video. The phones are exact ties. This is sort of shameful for Google though, because their high-end phone only equaled a budget-end iPhone. Maybe free browsing will make the decision for us. Oh, when I googled Google Pixel 6 Pro versus iPhone SE 2022, I actually got a page saying the specifications, telling the specifications on these two devices. What is this? Oh, it's just Google search. Huh. Both have wireless charging. GHz rate is higher on the 6 Pro. Ooh, the SE has dual SIM slots. I could be wrong here, but I think that's just saying that the SE has less storage. Whoever wrote this is a little bit prejudiced toward Apple, I'd say. Well, we've made it another week, my subscribers. If this video gets 100 likes by next week, I'll do a hand reveal. Subscribe to Google, and I'll see you next week.